The Devils went to work and went 2-1 on their Western Canada excursion, and that includes a 3-0 shutout win over the Oilers on Monday night. So let's talk Devs with Alex Chauvancy of the New Jersey Devils on the Rush. Hey, Alex, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Pretty good. How about you?
I feel good, man. These guys were on the Rush last night, so I guess give us your thoughts on another shutout win against the Oilers.
Yeah, it was an interesting trip because all three of their games were shutouts one way or another.
Yeah.
But last night they looked a little shaky to start off the game, a little bit like the Flames game actually. But Jake Allen stood on his head. He was really, really good, especially early in the first period. They needed him to stand on his head because the Oilers were definitely controlling play, I'd say, for like the first 10 minutes or so of that first period. And then once Stefan Noesen scored to make it a 1-0 game, it felt like the Oilers kind of not sat back, but were a little bit, I guess, taken off guard because they were controlling play so much. I think that was a problem with the Devils last season. They were just not getting saves and getting those timely saves from Jake Allen early on and then going up 1-0. It's been a big difference in the games where the goalies have played well this season.
Yeah, another thing that was something that was impressive to me is like the energy that they had after being on the road on their third game, and they were down to a roster of only 21 players. So if you're Tom Fitzgerald, what are you going to do to fill Lazar and Bastian's roster spots?
Yeah, it's a tough one because it looks like those guys are out long term. So with Nathan Bastian, I think the easiest solution would probably be call up someone from Utica. Nolan Foote is at a point per game pace with the Comets. I think he has 8 points in 8 games for them or something like that, close to that. But they might have to make a trade for a depth forward at some point too. I'm not really sure how long you can run a fourth line of Curtis McDermott, Justin Dowling, and Tomas Tatar. Tatar is pretty good, but I don't think he can carry those guys all the time. So they're either going to have to make a call up or they will have to make a trade at some point because their forward depth in Utica is not great right now. They only have like a couple of options. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But I think they can manage for a few games here in the short term, but in the long term, they might have to make a move and maybe trade like a late or mid-round pick to get a depth forward.
All right, 9 goals for, 3 against on the road trip. I guess grade those 3 games out in Western Canada.
Yeah, so I mean, the Canucks game couldn't have gone any better. They dominated the Canucks in every facet of the game. That was probably their best performance of the season to this point. Really, no complaints. That was an A-plus game. The Flames game, they played pretty well defensively, but that was their worst offensive performance of the season by far. The Flames are not a particularly good team this year. They are 1-5 in their last 6 games, and their one win is to the Devils. So that was a little bit unfortunate, dropping points in that game. That's really one you'd like to have, considering the Devils should be a playoff contender, and I doubt the Flames will be in playoff contention as the season progresses. So that was a tough one, but they definitely made up for it against the Oilers. Even without Connor McDavid, that's still a really good team. The Oilers were the better team for the most part in that game at 5-5, but as has been the case for the Oilers most of the season, their special teams have really, really struggled, and that was part of the difference in the game last night, aside from Jake Allen. The Oilers, they gave up a power play goal. It took about 10 seconds, I think, for Jesper Bratt to score that power play goal. And then on the Oilers' lone power play, they didn't score. So that was a difference in the game. I think, considering the Oilers really dominated that game in 5-5, I wouldn't go as far as to say the Devils get like an A- or B+ for that. But since Jake Allen was so great and their defense actually did play better as the game progressed, probably give them like a B for that. That's just a tough environment to win. It's also the third game of the road trip when those Western Canada trips are not easy at all. So playing like that and getting a shutout win is pretty impressive. Those were games that they didn't win last season too. When they got outplayed, they usually just lost by multiple goals. So it's a sign this team might be different than last season.
Well, I tally up the grades. Look like a good GPA to me. And the funny part is 3 games in Canada on the road. Now they're back at home on Thursday against the Canadians. The irony in that. Alex, thanks for hopping on with us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again.